and personally welcoming you all to the heart of the 102nd District. Yep, this is the middle of the district that I will represent in the Kansas House of Representatives. This is a very exciting time for Kansas because we all have an opportunity to affect change. I'd like to share with you a few of my thoughts about why I'm running and why change is upon us. These thoughts have evolved over the past 9 months as I've talked to voters in my district. And the more I talk to them about the kind of changes that we are going to be facing in the future. The Kansas that I remember growing up with was forward-thinking, progressive, and rational. I grew up learning what was right and good. I learned that we must all decide for ourselves the path in the world that we take. My mom and dad allowed me to make my own path, one they would be proud to know that I followed were they here today. In Kansas, we value the unique individuals who make up our communities. Today in Kansas, we have strayed too far from that. In Kansas, we value our individuality, and Kansas has strayed from that value. We need to reclaim Kansas and the values that we have. This is what I heard from the hundreds of residents of the 102 I personally met and talked with. They have expressed concerns about funding cuts, workers and their families being taxed disproportionately, our elderly, disabled, and special needs citizens being burdened with their care. They want change. And they know that that change is the right thing to do, not just for the individuals who need it, but for our community and for our state. The Kansas economy and quality of life that my wife and I envisioned is slipping away for Kansans, especially those in the 102. Our hard work earned wages are at risk. Jobs are at risk. Care for our vulnerable citizens is at risk. School children are at risk. Our state is at risk. To address these risks is not only the right thing to do, it's also the moral thing to do. And I don't think anyone would argue with that. Where do I stand? I want to stand beside you, and I want you to stand beside me and with me for change. Our failure as a state to take seriously these problems concerns me. I know it concerns many of you. I don't think anyone would argue that we as a state need to do better for those that need us the most. Where do I stand? I stand with Kansas residents who want a better state for their children. I stand with Kansas residents who struggle to make ends meet. I stand with you in hopes of providing you that unique opportunity I know that our state can offer. The right thing to do is to take care of everyone. We need jobs which provide a living wage. We need access to affordable quality health care. We need adequate funding for our schools. We need support for new businesses and quality housing to go along with those businesses. We need an economy that supports and includes everyone, not just a few. I am reminded of a passage in Ezekiel from my graduate theology education. Quote, "You have not strengthened the weak or healed the sick or bound up the injured. You have not brought back the strays or searched for the lost. You have ruled them harshly and brutally." This biblical passage sums up what has happened in Kansas under Governor Brownback. What does this message from the Bible mean, and what can I do with it, and what can we take from it? It means bringing others into the discussion. When Jan Pauls came out as a Republican, she stated that Republicans had a big tent. I want to say that Kansas has an open tent allowing everyone in. What has happened to Kansas under the Brownback has now been embraced by Jan Pauls, and that is another reason we're here today. We need a change in the 102 and in Kansas. I'm committed to ideas and ideals that are greater than any one individual. I am committed to the people. This election is about you, about our district, and about Kansas. I studied philosophy and theology, and I also must admit I'm also a fan of Star Trek. In my studies in my life, I have come to embrace an historical idea so eloquently expressed in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. My faith is substance of things hoped for, the conviction of things unseen. Faith is not word-for-word written doctrine sanctified by the law of the land or the state or the promise that you will always be comfortable. Faith will not always allow you to surround yourself with like-minded people. Faith is knowing you are doing the right thing for yourself and for others. My friend and teacher, Nobel Peace Prize recipient, Holocaust survivor, writer, and United Nations Messenger of Peace, Elie Wiesel, is a staunch defender of people and character. He said, quote, "The world must not stand idly by. We have no right to stand idly by. Please join me in not standing idly by." We need people who will stand up and stand on the right side of history. History has shown those who are outspoken for change win out. The founders of this country and this state, others like Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi, are examples, and they are now viewed as being on the right side of history. There's a proverb that goes something like this: "Open your mouth so the mute can speak. Open your mouth for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth and judge righteously and defend the rights of the poor and the needy." People on both sides feel strongly about their beliefs. It's not about slogans. It's not about repeating old ones. We need to listen to each other and focus on solving the problems rather than partisan bickering. In speaking to my district, I know that my community is concerned about our economy and our future. Why then has our state taken so much time on issues that do not reflect the issues of the public? Why then does Kansas find itself mired in repeated social debate? And yet our communities hunger for opportunity. Our neighbors are tired of the use of fear and partisanship to divide us. We all share a district, a state, and a country. We all share a future together. When I was in leadership Reno County 2 years ago, we looked at practicing healthy conflict resolution. In doing so, we kept ourselves open to change. And it is leaders who are open to change who made our country, our state, and can make our community great. Too often acceptance depends on whether or not I am just like you. I'm here to tell you that embracing difference is what makes us strong. That's the Kansas I know. We all hold a wide array of personal and political beliefs. That's okay. We need to get beyond those differences and embrace what makes us united. We are a state made up of conservatives, moderates, liberals, Republicans, and Democrats, libertarians, and unaffiliated. But we are all Kansans, and we all want a better future for ourselves and our children. Help me make Kansas and my community, our community, a better place no matter what party or belief you have. Stand with me, with Kansas, and help us to reclaim the Kansas we love, a Kansas for all of us, even though we don't think the same. There is a wind blowing in Kansas for change, and to rephrase Ezekiel, which I quoted earlier, we need to strengthen the weak, heal the sick, bind up the injured. We need to bring back the strays and find the lost. We need to have Kansas be a kinder and gentler state. We need people who are committed to change. And that, my friends, is why I am seeking your vote, not only in the upcoming primary, but also in November. I stand and applaud each and every one of you for making this world and Kansas a better place. Thank you very much.